I'm AnnMarie,
And I'm Mailet.
and this is the new normal.
And today we're talking about complementary treatment.
I just love that word because it does add to our treatment that we're going through. And I got a great story that I want to share. I was literally about a week in. Like, no one really even knew that I had cancer, but my one friend that I brought with me, the cancer research scientist. So she wasn't exactly, let's just say she was skeptical of some holistic things. And I decided to do some Reiki at this wellness fair that we went to. And I was laying on the table, and the Reiki master was going over my body and, doing her thing. And she kept saying, I can't stay away from this right side. There's so much on this right side. I need to really pull from this right side. It's really, really intense. And she didn't know it, but that's where my cancer was.
Wow.
And she stayed on the right side the whole time trying to heal me and it was pretty empowering. She had no idea that I had cancer and that, it was on my right side. And I believed in all that before, but for my girlfriend who didn't really believe in any of that, she was a little bit like, wow, that was something. And, moving forward into my diagnosis, I really did believe that a lot of the things that I did holistically really did help me thrive through my healing process.
I love complementary treatments. Mm-hmm. I did a variety of them. So I've done Reiki. Mm-hmm. I did acupuncture.
Me too.
I did a lot of Chinese herbs. Mm-hmm. I did, let me see what else. Oh, I did high doses of vitamin C.
Oh, me too.
And first of all, I want to say, we're not doctors. We're just talking about our experience.
Absolutely.
So whatever we say you want to try, make sure you just consult your doctor first.
Absolutely.
Because what worked for me, what worked for AnnMarie is, we're all different. It may not work for you.
100%.
So
our body makeups are completely different.
Yes. So I did high doses of vitamin C along with my cancer treatment.
Mm-hmm. So during my recurrence a couple of years ago, the doctor that I switched oncologists, and the doctor that I was seeing, she was an integrative doctor. So before she started anything, she did a full panel of my vitamins and minerals and what I was deficient in. She boosted everything. And I don't mean just with a vitamin. I mean with straight, hard, beautiful vitamins and minerals. And then she gave me low dose chemotherapy and everything else. And I did take it better than I think a lot of people did because, I was more balanced in that respect. And why aren't we doing that? That is something that's always kind of blown my mind. And again, it didn't cure anything. That's not what it did. It helped me. I was super nauseous, and the only thing that helped me was medical marijuana. That was the only thing that helped my nausea. I don't understand. It's so amazing to me how we can pump all these drugs into other people, prescription medication, which I know are very needed a lot of the times, but we're so apprehensive to do natural remedies, and that's quite bizarre to me.
So my nurse actually asked if I wanted a prescription for medical marijuana. I had never tried it, but there's a lot of I would say research and evidence that it does help. It helps with your appetite. It helps suppress some of your nausea. Maybe it helps sleep, relaxation, stress, all of these things. But
Joint pain?
Yes. So, but there are a lot of benefits to it. And for someone who doesn't want to take something that has THC in it, you can always try something like CBD.
Absolutely.
Which has no THC, when the THC is what actually gives you that high feeling. And so there are a lot of benefits, and CBD is something I've tried many times and I really enjoy because it does help with many different things like sleep and all of that stuff, and I won't go into all those things.
I mean, I eat CBD all day, and I do use THC as well, but you can also get CBD and THC 50-50, so you don't really have that. And what I think scares people is they think they're going to be high all day, and that's not what this is about. This isn't about smoking marijuana to be high. This is about helping alleviate some of the pain that you go through and the nausea and everything else, and help with appetite. That's what this is about. And I'll be honest, I could not have gotten through my diagnosis without it. 100%. I could not. You were talking about how you were nervous about it and you didn't do anything in high school, and I clearly did. It's pretty open that I have been in recovery for a very long time. I've had an issue with hard drugs and pills years and years ago. I've, been clean for 30 years, but it amazed me that my doctors had no problem giving me Oxy. And like the first doctor I went to kind of gave me grief about wanting a medical marijuana license. And I was like, but you're giving me a prescription pill that's addicting. Like, I don't understand why. And once I saw this, once I moved oncologist and went to this other one, the first thing she said to me was, do you want a medical marijuana license? I think you really would benefit from this. And, it is a process. Like, I had to fill out a very thick, paperwork that had to be processed, and it has to be updated every 6 months. So, they're watching and making sure that you're staying on, point with it. But I could not have gotten through my diagnosis without it. There's no possible way. The joint pain is incredible. I mean, the other thing is I don't just have cancer, I have MS too. So that adds a completely different layer to my diagnosis. And a lot of the medications that I was on for cancer exacerbate my MS symptoms, and that's why I need holistic treatment to balance some of that just a little bit to help with the side effects.
Wow. Here I am, like, being so afraid of trying this thing out, even though it is, natural. What I did, and I didn't realize how much it actually had helped you. That's amazing. And hopefully now that it's legalized in a lot of places and it's more kind of acceptable, I think hopefully it will allow other people to be able to get that help that they need too. I also tried acupuncture.
Me too.
Which I was also super helpful. I mean, I think that when you talk about all the benefits in terms of helping you with your treatment, it helps so that your body can accept the treatment better, I think.
My sons do acupuncture too, and the first time my son did it, the acupuncturist was like, look at you, you had a bleeder right here, there was a lot of energy coming out of there, and it was a real emotional spot. And he's such a pessimist. He was like, whatever, rolling his eyes. He's gonna kill me for telling this story, but whatever. Later that night, I look out on the deck and he's sitting in the lawn chair sobbing, 17 years old, sobbing. And I come out there, I'm like, what is up, dude? He's like, I just can't stop crying. There is a release when you do a lot of these. I mean, I did a lot of cupping, and there were certain spots. I mean, when I was doing the cupping, the whole area around my liver was like magnified, and that's where I had a lot of problems. Like, it definitely sees things that, that you don't get a full picture of all the time. And cupping, acupuncture completely helped with my lymphedema. Jumping on a trampoline. So this is something that I think is really important. We're talking holistic and complementary. That doesn't necessarily always mean acupuncture and things like that. This could be, maybe you had your legs were really shaky and you were weak from your chemo and everything, and you found this wheelchair that helped you navigate your house a little bit better. That's an integrative treatment to help you with your thrive through your diagnosis. It really is. And the other part to this is, well, not everybody wants to dive into this area. When you're stage 4, you will leave no stone unturned. Okay? So if juicing 6 pounds of carrots could help you a little bit, you're going to do it. It's not... We understand that it's not curing anything, and it's not necessarily stopping progression and all of that. But if it gives you a little bit of livelihood back in your life because it makes you feel better, you're going to juice 6 pounds of carrots. You're going to try oxygen therapy, which I've done, and it was incredible. I mean, there's so much out there. Before medical marijuana was even legal in New York State, a good friend of mine was very sick with cancer, and the only thing that helped her was, well, it was Rick Simpson oil back then, but whatever it is now. And she didn't really have access to it. So I got weed and I got a crock pot and I made her oil to help her through her diagnosis. And to see her be able to just like chill for just even a couple hours is so powerful for her to be able to, be a little bit more comfortable. That's the part I don't understand. If it helps you a little bit, give it a try. And there's so many things out there. And this isn't just about herbs and acupuncture and medical marijuana. It's about eating too. Which is, not always easy because sometimes you want to just eat a bag of Twizzlers.
Which is completely fine.
I know, because I love me Twizzlers.
You mentioned, there is no stone unturned, right? And I feel I wasn't stage 4, I was a stage 2, But I think at any stage, anyone is
Absolutely.
willing and wants to try as many things as possible. Now, I tried some things that, like, they're not even from here, okay? I'm Cuban. I tried something from Cuba. I don't even know. I'm not even going to
Look
mention
at,
what it is.
honey, I grew up with a grandmother that would put garlic oil in my ears if I had an ear infection. So I'm okay with just about anything.
Okay, well, my grandmother would give us little shots of, I think it was whiskey or
Yeah.
something
Oh, yeah, my
like
grandma
that
did that
whenever
too.
you had a sore
Yeah,
throat.
absolutely.
Here, take some out. I'm like,
Yeah, 'cause
Grandma!
it burnt
She's
your
like,
throat and
just
made you
take
drunk. So
it!
that's why I couldn't tell if you had a sore throat.
So yeah, additional things that I did were, you mentioned health, like food, and juicing. I did a ton of juicing. I think it was like every day. I like, when we've talked about things that friends and family have gave you, like I got a juicer from someone, which is like, one of like the best.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I was able to juice. I would say I was probably doing it 3 times a day, at least, or definitely every day. And I think that helped me a lot. And I also I changed my diet because, I don't know if some people know this or not. It's definitely documented. It's out there. But cancer thrives on sugar. Okay?
It does
So
like it.
if you're feeding yourself tons of sugar, it's not helping. And there's plenty of evidence out there talking about that connection.
But no one feel guilty for eating sugar.
Right? No, of course, because I still
So
like
this
my
is
chocolate.
this is
and
part
I
of
still,
my, and I 100% agree with you. I just think we don't, I'm a sugar junkie. Like I will eat an entire big bag of Twizzlers like it's my
I
job.
love Twizzlers.
Now, before my diagnosis, I was a personal trainer and I was in the best fit of my life. I was so healthy, I ate really well, and I got cancer anyways. So I have a very different approach to that. Now that doesn't mean that I don't eat right. I totally watch what I'm eating. But I do allow myself to have those things that in the beginning I felt really guilty for eating. I felt guilty for putting deodorant on because, there's research that says that deodorant causes cancer. And you can't live in that fear. You have to be smart about lowering your risk. And there are ways that you can lower your risk. Risk. But the reality is it just lowers it. It really does. There's no preventing it. And there is something else I think is really, really important because we did say about leaving no stone unturned. Childhood cancer is a major issue because our research is 40 years old. So kids diagnosed with childhood cancer are probably in a treatment that's 40 years old. And when your child is diagnosed with a childhood cancer that has a 1% survival rate, you damn sure bet you're going to be juicing carrots. You're going to be going to an herbalist. You're going to be flying to Mexico to have shark whatever put into your system. I mean, the treatments that I have heard some of these kids' parents bringing their kids through is because they are finding ways for their child to make it and go through their diagnosis just a little bit easier and more comfortable. So, if you travel all over to find different therapies that other people have used, you should be able to do that. And we should be sharing those therapies. I mean, I jokingly said something about garlic and oil in my ear, but, that was cultural. I'm Italian American. My family brought in their remedies from our culture, and they're not, a bottle of aspirin. There's some funky stuff that we did. And you said you're Cuban. I mean, all of these different types of therapies we should be sharing with each other and bringing into all of our treatment plans.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little afraid of saying what it was that I did from Cuba, but
we don't.
There is information out there.
Yes, and that's just the thing is we don't need to share it here. And like Mailet said, you should definitely consult with your doctor. And it doesn't have to be your doctor. There's tons of researchers out there that will talk to you. There's great research out of the UK about doing everything that we're talking about. And all of this being said, this is part of the reason why when we first talked about this episode, I was like, please don't call it alternative. The minute we say words like that, it sets off alarms in people and they get really scared to try different things. And this is not what it's about. It's about complementing what we're already going through. No one here is saying don't go through chemo or radiation. Right. We're saying look at this, add it to it so you can benefit from it.
One of the things that I did with my doctor, and now you mentioned that for kids, their treatment is 40 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we are slowly advancing, and research has allowed us to continue to get further, especially with immunotherapy and things like that. So there has been some advancements, which I'm excited about.
For adults, is what we're talking about.
Yes. And there was actually an article not that long ago, very recently, about possibly not needing chemo as part of your treatment.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was reading, I was like, oh my God, this is great, because I don't think like every single one requires it. But the advancements in treatment has allowed doctors to be able to say, okay, you actually don't need chemo. This is what you're going to try. This is what, your protocol is going to be instead, which I'm so grateful for. But just kind of one other thing I wanted to add is that when I was going through treatment, and the reason I brought the advancements now is because I don't think we were quite there, 10 years ago. Yeah. My doctor actually took my blood work and sent it to Germany to have that blood work get tested for the different types of tumors to see which of the which chemo is actually going to be able to work best with my type of cancer. And maybe a year, 2-3 years ago, something like that, there's now in the U.S. companies that do that kind of work, so that and that your chances of of treatments being more beneficial are higher because it's being tested before you actually get start on them.
The problem is that it's not covered under everybody's insurance.
That's a very good point, because I paid for some of this stuff came out of pocket.
That's bull. I mean, that's just not right. So when I was diagnosed, I was interviewed in the local paper, and they put my phone number in the paper with the article. Like, my whole phone number is right there. And I was getting some out of control calls. And I get this call at 3:00 in the morning, and it says to me, don't do anything, don't have surgery, don't have chemotherapy, come to my house. I have 3 pills, and I'll give you these 3 pills, and you'll be cured from cancer. I just need $400 when you get here. I was looking at my phone like, what in God's green earth? The problem is, what if I didn't have insurance? What if I was all by myself, and this person calls me, or I see an ad, and it tells me all that, and I give you my last $400 because you tell me it's going to do X, Y, and Z, and it does 0. Right. What shysters are doing out there and robbing people at their weakest moments is really screwed up.
And there are plenty of them.
And it what it does also is it makes these type of treatments, our complementary therapies, it gives them a target, and it puts a stigma all around them, because it looks like it's, I'm trying to sell you dirt from the street corner.
Snake oil.
Snake oil. Yeah. But snake oil might work. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. So I think the best thing that we can explain to everybody through all this is talking to your doctors about the different therapies that are out there. Talk to other people, see what's going on, what's helped them, and see.
And reputable. Be careful on the internet. Don't listen to everything you hear or read, because there are people out there, especially, you get them in comments all the time. Hey, try this out. It's like we have to constantly delete them.
Yes.
So you do have to be very careful and make sure that you're not, we know you want to try to do, and trust me, we tried to do everything we possibly could, but you do have to be careful and not fall victim to some of these things.
I think the other lesson is, don't be fearful. Mailet was fearful in the beginning, and now she gave it a try, whatever it is, because this is our new normal.
What's your new normal?